This is part 3 in a video discussion on the subject. In the first video, I argued that religion is a mental disorder by showing that many different definitions of mental disorders apply to religious people. In the second video, I talked more about the nature of this disorder and how it evolved. In this video, I respond to some of the objections that my view has received. In the comments section, I have placed links to the other 2 videos and links to some of the videos with objections. The objections that I'm responding to all come from the video responses I received or from the comments on the videos. First, someone made an argument that goes something like follows. Disorder is defined in terms of abnormality. But religion is normal in the sense that a majority of people are religious. So how can religion be a disorder since it is not an abnormality? This argument makes some intuitive sense until you probe a little deeper. Let's talk about some other abnormality, say cancer. Cancer is bad no matter how many people have it. If a doctor diagnoses you with cancer, it's a bad thing. It is a disease, regardless of whether 80, 90, or even 100% of people get cancer at some time in their lives. Likewise, even though religion is common, it is still a disease. Another criticism I received was that I didn't prove that religion was false. The Christian God might exist, and I admit that. I didn't prove religion was false in the video, but that wasn't my goal. And besides, I figure that horse has been beaten to death. Think of this as a delegation of work. There are enough videos here on YouTube that you can watch if you want arguments against the validity of religion. Or you could go and read some science books. It was objected that I didn't mention the positive aspects of religion. But I don't think I need to because that's not relevant to the point of the videos. Sometimes crazy people, say schizophrenics, do nice things. Sometimes they do nice things specifically because of their schizophrenia. But that doesn't mean that schizophrenia isn't a disorder, and the same goes for religion. It was objected that my view is too extreme. In my first video, I made it sound like religious people were mental train wrecks, delusional, psychotic, neurotic, helplessly debilitated subhumans. How then is it possible that society continues to function when a majority of people are religious? This objection isn't really being charitable to my view. Of course society continues to function, and I recognize that. I also recognize that most religious people continue to function normally. On my view, this is because they have only a mild case of religion. Rarely does a case of religion get so severe that a person is rendered incapable of participating in society. But it is still a problem in small doses because it impedes thinking and social progress. And in large doses, it can be dangerous. It was objected that my proposal was just a cleverly disguised ad hominem attack, that my comparison of religion to mental disorders is just a means to discredit religious people without having to address their arguments. And of course the conclusion of this argument is that we should disregard my proposal. But this objection doesn't fly. Let's assume that religion really is a mental disorder of a certain type. I mean, surely this is at least possible. But if this were true, the same objection could be made. And since the same objection can be made when we know the conclusion of that objection to be false, we know the reasoning to be faulty. Now, surely there are some who would want to use this comparison to discredit arguments coming from religious people. And I don't endorse this strategy because that would be an ad hominem attack. But that is not what I'm doing here. I am simply arguing that religion is a type of mental disorder, and this is a perfectly sensible thesis which I have been defending on perfectly rational grounds. Finally, it was argued that since I didn't define religion, my assertion that religion is a type of mental disorder is meaningless. But it isn't necessary for me to fully define religion. We all know roughly what is meant by the term religion, and also what I mean by religion comes out implicitly in the video. If I say to you, exercise is good for your health, that makes perfect sense. You know what I'm talking about, and you also know that it's true, even if I don't explicitly define exercise. Now, of course, you might want me to be more specific. You might want me to say what exactly is a good type of exercise to be doing, what exactly counts as exercise. But then, stating that I didn't define religion is not an argument against my view, but a request for more information. So here I will try to answer that request. I will try to get a little bit more technical, and I will say that a person is religious to the extent that they harbor beliefs about the supernatural and to the extent that those beliefs influence their behavior. Usually, in order to count as religious, those beliefs and rituals must be codified or accepted by a large group. If it's a small group, we call it a cult, not a religion. And if it is a lone individual, we call it insanity. Now, is Unitarian Universalism a religion? Not really. It's masquerading as religion. I mean, what are their core beliefs? They don't have any. Even atheists can be Unitarian Universalists. And what are their core rituals? Basically, sitting together and getting along. From the Wikipedia entry on Unitarian Universalism, the extent to which the elements of any particular faith tradition are incorporated into one's personal spiritual practices is a matter of personal choice in keeping with Unitarian Universalism's creedless, non-dogmatic approach to spirituality and faith development. In other words, there are no beliefs or rituals included under the umbrella term Unitarian Universalism. They are no more religious than a book club or a table of poker players. And this leads me to another minor point. Someone argued that I was being very foolish by neglecting to consider the fact that religious texts are often used for a means of self-expression or for metaphors. But so what? That isn't religion. I used the phrase God's eye view a few days ago. Does that mean that I believe in God? I might use the word heaven to describe my vacation. Does that commit me to a belief in the afterlife? There's nothing religious about using a religious text for poetic or expressive purposes. It's only religious when you start believing the claims in the book and acting on those beliefs. Okay, so now that I'm done cutting through the objections, like a knife through butter, I have a question. If my opponents are right, shouldn't they be able to come up with an argument, even just one argument, that doesn't fall to pieces under the slightest logical scrutiny? I'm not asking for much, just one argument that takes more than 20 seconds to dismantle. If such an argument can't be provided, then we just have to accept the conclusion that religion is a mental disorder. Now, keep in mind, this debate isn't really about trying to uncover something about the nature of religion or of mental disorders. Rather, it's more about a negotiation of the meaning of the term mental disorder. The question really is, does religious belief have meaningful similarities with other mental disorders, such that it should be considered as a type of mental disorder? And I have argued that the answer is yes. Religiosity is measured along the dimensions of strength of belief in ideas about the supernatural and the willingness to engage in behaviors or rituals based on those beliefs. The more religious someone is, the more they exhibit delusional, neurotic, and schizophrenic behavior. So we should identify religion as a special type of mental disorder. In short, religion is a disease of the mind.